20 years ago, we were fairly desperate for a downtown situation. After 5 o'clock, it was pretty dead. Virtually no one lived downtown. Virtually few people came down to recreate. Few people worked downtown. But then 20 years ago, we started building stuff. We built a new sports arena, a new downtown baseball stadium, built a canal and put dams to put water in our river, and a lot of really good things started happening. And that $1 billion now of public investment has turned into $5 billion in private investment. Well, we passed a penny on the dollar sales tax in 1993 that funded many of the projects that you see around downtown today. We then passed another penny on the dollar sales tax to take care of our inner city schools. And then we recently passed yet a third penny on the dollar sales tax initiative to build another round of civic improvement. So all capital in nature, but all very directed toward inner city development. You can't be a suburb of nothing. And we believe that downtown investment is key, and that life in the suburbs is directly related to the intensity of the core. Well, I think Oklahoma City has really stepped forward and decided it wanted to raise the standards of the type of city that it wanted to be. I think in general, a lot of cities that have trouble passing a tax initiative are generally focused on social issues or other issues. We've got potholes, or we have crime, or we don't have the education we'd like to have, or we have health concerns. Well, you're never going to resolve all of those issues to the satisfactory of everyone. So you can sit around and twiddle your thumbs and wait for this magical day to arrive when all of those things have finally been addressed. But at the end of the day, you got to do the best you can with those issues and invest in the future, because that next generation, those highly educated 20-somethings, they're going to go to cities where jobs are being created, and jobs are being created in cities that are investing in their downtowns. Well, there's three types of cities when you're a sports fan. There's cities without any professional sports, and then there's minor league cities, and then there's major league cities. And in our case, we were a minor league city. We were a minor league city for 116 years, and our peer cities were the teams we played in sports: Wichita, Little Rock, Amarillo, Tulsa. Nice cities, every one of them. But with the addition of the Thunder, our peer cities, at least on a superficial sports center level, are Chicago and LA and New York and Miami and Boston and to a certain extent cities that we would never be in the same conversation with if it weren't for our professional sports entity. And I think in a city like Sacramento's situation, the current generation can take it for granted because they've had that team for quite some time. And you might forget what it was like before you had that team, but I can assure you this: if you're trying to attract highly educated 20-somethings to move to your community, and you say you should move here, but our sports team is moving out, that's an inconsistent message. And I don't think you can possibly say that you're trying to improve the economy, you're trying to create jobs, and at the same time think that it's okay if this team leaves. Well, I think you got to have it all. The people today who are choosing where to locate, they can be quite choosy about what cities that they want to live in and what cities they want to raise their family in. And what I mean by that is that they're highly mobile and fairly picky, and they want a city that has the arts and the sports and a lack of traffic congestion and affordable housing and a lot of other amenities. And I don't think you can be light on any of those categories and expect to win this battle for this next generation that we're all in. Sports is a significant part of that. Young people want to be in a city that's culturally relevant. And if you don't have a major league professional sports team, you are less relevant in that superficial pop culture method than cities that are. The secret to economic development is the attraction of human capital. It's no longer a matter of throwing incentive dollars at companies hoping they'll move to your city. It's about attracting people that are highly educated that will create jobs in your community or attract employers. Employers are going to gravitate toward where the human capital is because that's how they're going to be able to build their businesses. And a sports component is significant, along with a lot of other things, but significant. Well, yeah, in the beginning, when we brought in the Hornets, and then when we passed an initiative to improve the arena to get the Seattle franchise to relocate to Oklahoma City, There certainly were naysayers. There were people that said, hey, look, this is not necessary. They're probably going to come anyway, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's quick to point out that when you're talking about cities like Sacramento and Oklahoma City, the NBA doesn't need us. I mean, they're going to do quite fine in their major markets. When you get down to the smaller markets that may or may not deserve or be able to support a team, you're going to have to do things that other cities don't have to do. And it's just a matter of whether or not you're willing to do them. And when I was asking our citizens to go to the polls to vote for an initiative to improve our sports arena, I was very upfront. I said, look, we don't have to do this. We can be a minor league city, but that's a choice. And it's a choice that you ought to have the right to make, because there are going to be responsibilities 10 years from now or 20 years from now or 30 years from now again. We're a small market. And if we want to play in this league, if we want to be on that same equal footing with an NBA franchise as a lot of bigger cities, we're going to have to step up. And in our city, people chose to do that.